They called him the Prince of Pop. And for a while, it wasn't even up for debate. From his early days as the face of NSYNC to his solo superstardom, Justin Timberlake was unstoppable. He could dance, act, sing, and charm just about anyone with a smile. People compared him to Michael Jackson. He shared the stage with Madonna, hosted Saturday Night Live more times than some actual cast members, and had a cultural grip that felt unbreakable. But now, that crown is slipping. Because Justin Timberlake is no longer known for his flawless falsetto or slick choreography. He's known for scandals, for ex-girlfriends exposing him, for dodging accountability, and for becoming a living case study in what happens when fame and ego collide, and there's no one left to clean up the mess. This is the story of Justin Timberlake, how he became a global icon, how he used that platform to quietly exploit others, and how it's all come crashing down around him. From the outside, Justin Timberlake was the embodiment of early 2000s perfection. He wasn't just a breakout star, he was the blueprint for what every label wanted in a pop act. Clean-cut, but edgy. Commercially friendly, but cool enough to earn street cred. A boy band member who could not only go solo, but dominate. After the NSYNC era peaked with chart toppers like Bye 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 and It's Gonna Be Me, Timberlake was already preparing his escape route. And when he finally stepped out on his own in 2002 with Justified, it didn't feel like a risky experiment. It felt inevitable. This wasn't a rebirth. It was a coronation. The album wasn't just successful, it was intentional. Backed by the Neptunes and Timbaland, Justified wasn't afraid to lean hard into R&B and hip-hop sensibilities. Justin had traded bubblegum beats for grown man grooves, crafting a sound that felt like a young white guy walking a very thin line between admiration and appropriation, and somehow, he pulled it off. At the time, at least. Singles like I Love You and Rock Your Body weren't just radio smashes, they were statements. Timberlake wanted to be taken seriously, not as a boy band leftover, but as a bona fide artist. And for the most part, it worked. He took home 2 Grammys, earned cosigns from artists far outside his pop orbit, and set the tone for his entire solo career. Beyond the music, his image was razor sharp. He wore suits, he cracked jokes on SNL, he dated pop royalty. And behind it all was an almost machine-like PR engine that kept his image polished, relatable, and just dangerous enough to feel like he wasn't too safe. He knew exactly when to smile, when to smirk, and when to say something quotable. The public couldn't get enough. But what no one really noticed at the time, or perhaps didn't want to see, was how quickly Timberlake had shed the skin of NSYNC, distancing himself from the very people who helped him rise. In interviews, he subtly downplayed the group's work ethic. He said Justified was 10 times better than anything they ever released. And while he was being hailed as a visionary solo artist, his former bandmates were left behind in the dust. This was the first clue, the first quiet signal, that maybe Justin Timberlake wasn't quite the golden boy he appeared to be. Because while his ascent was historic, it wasn't without casualties. And the higher he climbed, the more invisible those casualties became. But back then, no one cared. Justin was too good, too smooth, and too successful to question. He was the media's darling and the music industry's golden child. And when the world loves you that much, it becomes very easy to believe your own hype. What came next would put that belief to the test, because maintaining perfection in the public eye is one thing, but being held accountable when the mask slips, that's an entirely different game. As Justin's music career soared, so did his presence in pop culture. But it wasn't just his music that kept him in the public eye. It was his sense of humor. He wasn't afraid to poke fun at himself. From Duck in a Box to the Barry Gibb talk show, Justin proved he could act. And he could be funny. Between 2003 and 2013, he hosted or performed on Saturday Night Live a staggering 19 times, becoming one of the show's most celebrated recurring guests. He earned respect across industries: music, comedy, acting. He was starring in movies like The Social Network and Friends with Benefits. Every award show wanted him. Every brand wanted to sponsor him. He was the closest thing the early 2000s had to an all-American, untouchable superstar. But behind the charm and charisma, something darker was beginning to brew. Something that wouldn't surface fully until years later, when the people he'd stepped on to climb the ladder started telling their stories. To understand Justin Timberlake's fall, we need to go back to Britney Spears, America's pop princess, his Mickey Mouse Club co-star, and for a time, his girlfriend. Their relationship was front-page news, a fairy tale pairing of two rising superstars. From matching denim outfits at the AMAs to their wholesome promise of saving themselves for marriage, they were branded as America's golden couple. But the truth behind the scenes? Far more complicated. After their breakup in 2002, Justin wasted no time flipping the narrative. He painted himself as the heartbroken victim. He all but confirmed rumors that Britney had cheated. Through interviews, sly remarks, and most notably, music. The music video for Cry Me a River featured a Britney lookalike sneaking around and cheating on him. The press ate it up. Britney, once beloved, was suddenly villainized. And Justin? He was the poor, scorned ex who still had a heart of gold. But in her 2023 memoir, The Woman in Me, Britney revealed the other side of the story. And it wasn't just different. It was damning. She wrote that Justin was the one who cheated, not her. That he pressured her into an abortion when she became pregnant. That he didn't even take her to the hospital, instead asking her to keep the abortion secret to protect their public image. She also described the pain of watching him use their breakup to launch his solo career, while she silently took the hits. He mocked her on stage. He discussed their sex life in interviews. He never defended her when the media turned on her. He fed the machine that broke her. And she stayed silent. Until she couldn't anymore. If Britney exposed Justin's lack of loyalty, then Janet Jackson revealed his true cowardice. At the 2004 Super Bowl, Justin joined Janet on stage during the halftime show, and in the final moments of their duet, he reached out and tore off a piece of her costume, exposing her breasts to 90 million viewers. The world lost its mind. Janet was immediately blacklisted. Her songs were pulled from radio. She was uninvited from the Grammys, and Justin? He got to perform at the Grammys. He won 2 awards, and in his acceptance speech, he brushed off the controversy with a joke and a half-hearted apology. Later, Justin claimed the whole thing was a wardrobe malfunction, but according to Janet's stylist, it wasn't an accident at all. Justin allegedly wanted a big moment, to rival the Madonna-Britney kiss from the VMAs the year prior. If true, this wasn't just a PR disaster. It was a calculated stunt, one that sacrificed Janet Jackson's career for a few more headlines. Years later, he apologized, but only after the backlash reached a boiling point. Only after documentaries and public outcry forced his hand. Too little, too late. As more people revisited these controversies, Justin Timberlake's image began to unravel, and for years, he said nothing. No public statements, no accountability. Until 2021, when he finally released a public apology to both Britney and Janet. He admitted he benefited from a system that favored white men, that he contributed to the harm they suffered, that he was wrong. But many felt the apology came only because his reputation was on the line, not because he truly meant it. And the proof? He went right back to promoting music, launching tours, and making jokes on stage. The sincerity was missing. The damage was done. By the time 2018's Man of the Woods dropped, critics weren't pulling punches. The album was panned, confused, corny, even longtime fans felt alienated. Then came 2024's Everything I Thought It Was. And this time, the public barely noticed. The album was his first in nearly 2 decades to not debut at #1. Reviewers called it bland, outdated, a desperate attempt to recapture past glory. And when he went on tour, fans weren't cheering like they used to, they were complaining. In Romania, clips went viral of Justin barely performing, hiding under his jacket, letting the crowd do all the singing. People demanded refunds. Then came the arrest. In July 2024, Timberlake was pulled over in the Hamptons for a DWI. The details were damning. Glassy eyes, swerving, 3 refusals for a breathalyzer. When the cop asked why he was worried, Justin whispered, "This is going to ruin the tour." His world was unraveling, and he knew it. As criticism poured in, Justin made a surprising announcement. He had been diagnosed with Lyme disease. He said it was the reason behind the lackluster performances, the fatigue, the mental fog. It was a serious illness, and one that should have drawn empathy. But after years of PR manipulation, many fans didn't believe him. Some even accused him of faking it to avoid criticism. That's how far his credibility had fallen. So what does all this mean for Justin Timberlake? He's still talented, still capable of putting on a great show, still beloved by many. But the era of blind adoration is over. His legacy is now under constant revision. His reputation is fragile, and his inability to take real, meaningful accountability has made him a symbol of what happens when you take too much and give too little back. From pop royalty to PR liability, Justin Timberlake's story is no longer just about the music. It's about the mess he left behind, and whether he's finally ready to clean it up. If you found this breakdown insightful, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest pop culture rises and falls. And tap the bell so you don't miss a future upload. Catch you next time.